Kia ora, good evening. The threat of pay up or lose your licence has prompted tens of thousands of Kiwis to fork out for their fines.
A government initiative which threatens loss of licence for unpaid fines has brought in over $20 million in its first year. Driver's licence stop orders can be placed on anyone who fails to pay traffic-related fines imposed by a court, police or local government authority. In the past year, nearly 20,000 people who weren't paying fines have either done so or are in the process of doing so after being sent warning letters about potentially losing their licence. Since the initiative was introduced, almost $330,000 in fine repayments was paid to the Invercargill District Court alone.
The fate of around 34 cats will be in the hands of the SPCA in a few days' time if Invercargill City Council discover the nuisance cats at a Thurso Street property have not been rehomed or suitably contained. Invercargill woman Avril Gardner failed to comply with a court order that required her to remove the excess cats, leaving the City Council no choice but to take action.
This week we will be going around just to, I suppose, report back to the courts what the situation is.
So you don't know as yet whether or not she's done anything to remove those extra cats or contain them?
No, and we haven't heard from the neighbours or Ms Gardner. But we are available to support them if need be. But no, we haven't. We've decided that we won't interfere until the 21 days is up.
Who is driving this?
The neighbours are basically driving it, and they, through us, came to the council for support. We had a bylaw and we were able to ascertain that there was a nuisance. The Ms Gardner basically didn't comply with any of our, I suppose, requests to abate the nuisance, so we had to put the matter before the court, and the judge agreed that there was a nuisance, and that was based on mainly the evidence of the neighbours. So we're unfortunately caught in the middle that we have to enforce the court's decision, which was based on the neighbours' concerns, which the court upheld.
The neighbours, some neighbours have gone to quite some expense to cat-proof their properties.
They have, and when we heard in the court the evidence that was provided by the neighbours, the expense a lot of neighbours had gone just putting up fencing around their tunnel houses, putting stone screens to do away with their garden, and just electronic cat doors for their own cats. So that, it was they'd gone to a lot of trouble and expense.
And have been suffering this situation for quite a number of years.
Yep, I think we've been on the case for 3 years, so it's been probably even longer than that.
An expensive exercise for council too.
It is. It's been about $18,000 for us, and that doesn't include staff time. So, but we thankfully don't do this very often, and we don't go out looking for these problems, but we only have to act if there's a complaint and if there is a justifiable complaint.
So just to clarify that, people can have in fact more than 3 cats, but if they become a nuisance or are deemed to be a nuisance and there are complaints, then council does have to act.
Yes, we don't go out there looking if people have got 3 cats or more, but if someone makes a complaint and they have a nuisance and the owner is not being cooperative, then we have the complainant has a justifiable excuse for us to act.
In the past, neighbours have taken the vigilante approach to try and rid the cats off their properties, which is perhaps fair enough. This time round, you're looking at a rehoming system.
We are. We will be working with the SPCA unless the cats have already been rehomed to rehome the cats.
And legal advice today to get the approaches of whether or not you need a search warrant to get onto the property?
Yes, we're sort of planning that the cats may not have been removed. Hopefully they have been, or we can't get onto the property to report to the courts that they have been removed. So we have to take some planning on that.
So planning at this stage is to get a search warrant and get the SPCA in tow, approach the lady on the property and remove the cats physically.
Unfortunately, that's the worst case scenario, but we hope that we don't have to do any of that.
Kiwis' expectations for house price increases continue to soar, according to ASB.
The latest ASB Housing Confidence Survey shows a net 59% of respondents expect house prices to increase over the next 12 months. ASB said the number of people expecting increases, combined with the drop in the number of people who see now as a bad time to buy, shows Kiwis are remaining optimistic about further house price rises. According to the report, with the Royal Bank of New Zealand signalling the official cash rate could remain on hold, interest rates remain a key factor in influencing sentiment about the housing market. A net 34% of respondents expect interest rates to rise in the next year, and just 6% believe now is a bad time to buy.
Health warnings for the Waikaia River in northern Southland have been lifted after monitoring results showed levels of a potential toxic algae have reduced. Monitoring carried out by Environment Southland showed high levels of cyanobacteria in mid-January. Public Health South issued the warning saying contact with the algae could affect people's health. ES said the warning has been withdrawn after the high density of cyanobacteria mats moved as a result of high river flows, but all Southlanders should be vigilant as the algae could be growing in other rivers. The country's retail sales had an unexpected boost in the fourth quarter, with vehicle-related transactions leading the rise.
Figures released by Statistics New Zealand show sales rose 1.7% in the fourth quarter compared to 3 months earlier. For the year earlier quarter, actual sales climbed 5.9% by volume and 4.7% to $20.9 billion in value. This is the first time sales have exceeded $20 billion. 12 of the 15 retail industries measured rose in the latest period, mainly driven by a 3.4% increase in the volume of motor vehicle and parts retailing. Sales in food and beverage services were also a major contributor to the unexpected increases, climbing 3% in the latest quarter.
Stay with us after the break. Invercargill welcomes some of New Zealand's newest citizens, and we find out what's drawing the crowds at SIT. Welcome back. The city was packed with students today as day 2 of the Southern Institute of Technology's O Week kicked off. Here's Sharon Rees with more.
Day 2 of SIT's biggest O Week to date saw masses of students out enjoying another beautiful Invercargill day. Another big lineup of activities filled in the lunch hour of the students' second day with competitions and giveaways galore. To get an idea of who they were and what they were studying, I talked to some of SIT's newest and some of its more seasoned students.
Nursing.
And how long have you been doing it for?
I'm in my last year, third year, so 3 years.
Certificate of Audio Production.
And is this your first year?
Yes.
Plumbing and gas fitting.
And is this your first year?
No, second year. Oh, third actually, third year.
I'm pre-entry in nursing.
Is this the first time you've studied at SIT?
Yes.
Certificate in Audio Production.
And how long have you been doing it for?
I started yesterday.
What do you think of SIT so far?
It's great. There's a lot of friendly people around. It's good to know more people and get used to it. I'll get used to it eventually.
But it looks like the verdict's out on where most students will be taking their qualifications.
Don't know yet where I get a job. Maybe Aussie. I was looking at Aussie.
I'm planning on doing the Bachelor after this, so then I'll stay here for a little bit and then move to Wellington or something.
Do you know where you'll be going after this year?
I'm not too sure. Hopefully overseas or something like that, yeah.
So you won't be staying in Southland for too long?
Oh, not for too long, no.
I'm not entirely sure yet. I'll just see where life takes me.
And although SIT has a diverse student population working towards a variety of qualifications, it seems these students have one thing in common.
Zero fees, and I'm from here, so just more better option financially, won't have the big loan.
Mainly because of the zero fee scheme, but yeah, there's a lot of really cool people down here and it's an escape from the North Island.
Oh, it's just good environment, good people, yeah. So yeah, that's about it.
And was the zero fee scheme any help to that?
Of course it was. Okay. Had me at zero fees.
Because it's closer to where I'm located, and it's I know a lot of people going here too, and the staff are friendly and zero fees. So yeah, it's quite good.
Zero fees.
Is that the only reason?
Oh no, my friends go here too.
And do you think there's plenty of job opportunities available for your chosen career?
Yeah, absolutely. All around the world as well.
Do you think you'll stay in Southland afterwards?
Yeah. Hometown. Love it.
This week we'll see more students taking advantage of the zero fee scheme and the O Week giveaways than ever before. Tonight's O Week events include the Stadium Showdown at Stadium Southland from 6 to 8 p.m. and the Lone Star Bar Pong from 8 onwards. Sharon Rees, South Today News.
Invercargill City Council chambers were abuzz with anticipation and opportunity today with dozens of new Kiwi citizens. Today's citizenship ceremony saw 25 migrants become New Zealand citizens, swearing an affirmation or oath to Queen and Country. Mayor Tim Shadbolt encouraged community participation, volunteering and exercising of their new democratic rights, while Kaumātua Michael Skerritt spoke of the Treaty of Waitangi. On hand for support were representatives from the Multicultural Society and the Electoral Office, completing voting enrolment forms with the new citizens. Those becoming official Kiwis today herald from Fiji, Britain, Samoa, South Africa and Zimbabwe.
I've been in New Zealand for about 13 years now.
And what are the main differences that you've noticed from Zimbabwe?
It's quite cold here and people are really friendly, and yeah, you can go, I don't know, it's just real urbanized, I reckon. Yeah, like more buildings and stuff, more green grass and stuff like that.
What, from the area that you come in Zimbabwe, were you in a built-up city or were you in a rural area?
It was like kind of what would be a suburban place here, but yeah, that's where I came from. And from my dad's side of the family, it was more like a rural kind of area. Yeah.
As far as the citizenship ceremony today, what does that mean for you?
It really just opened my eyes to the opportunities that citizens have that I never really knew that other people had before. So yeah. One
of them being voting. I noticed that you're 17 now, but you're enrolling to vote because you'll be 18 by the time the next election comes around.
Mm-hmm.
Is that important to you to have the right to vote?
To be honest, not really right now, because I don't really feel like I'm affected by whoever's in charge, but I reckon in the future I'll really want to have the right to vote.
Do you see lots of opportunities for yourself and your family in New Zealand?
Yep, quite a lot of opportunities down here, more than what we would have had back in Zimbabwe.
We'll take a look at which southern town could be appearing on the world's most popular board game shortly, but first let's check out the weather.
Your forecast on Q is brought to you by Environment Southland. Environment Southland wants to know what you think about our recreational water areas. Where do you go? What do you do? And your thoughts about the water quality. You could win one of 5 $100 vouchers simply by completing their survey. The survey will help them find out whether the water is being tested in the right places and how the service can be improved. Complete the survey online by going to Environment Southland's website or pick up a hard copy from Environment Southland, the Southland District Council, Gore District Council, Invercargill City Council or Public Health South.
Taking a look at the weather for today, Tuesday the 17th of February. Most places made it into the 20s today. Auckland on 24, which was shared by several other areas. Wellington 17, Christchurch on 20, Queenstown on 23, 24 for Dunedin and Gore, and Invercargill also on 23, 17 the low today for Stewart Island. And tomorrow for Winton there'll be 24 degrees the high, as well as Wyndham 22 in Riverton. Tuatapere can expect a high of 22, as can Invercargill, and overnight lows of 11 there. And nightcaps climbing to 23 tomorrow, while Queenstown can expect a high of 24 degrees with partly cloudy skies. To the marine forecast for Fovo, northwest 15 knots, variable to 10 knots, southwest swell of 1 metre, a sea slight with fair visibility in drizzle. And for Pusaga, northwest 30 knots to northwest 20 knots, southwest swell of 2 metres and a northwest swell of 2 metres, rough sea easing. And looking ahead to the long range forecast for Thursday, scattered showers, a few heavy, clearing in the evening with light winds. Fine spells continue on Friday with isolated afternoon and evening showers inland. And for Saturday, fine spells with a shower or two. Queenstown is going up against some of the world's top destinations for a spot on everyone's favourite board game. To celebrate Monopoly's 80th anniversary, a new edition of the game will be released. Monopoly Here and Now World Edition will feature great cities from around the world, and Queenstown is now a contender. With only 20 spots available and 80 countries competing, getting Queenstown on the board depends on the number of votes it receives on Monopoly's website. To see Queenstown occupy real estate on the world's most popular board game, visit votemonopoly.com to take part in the vote. And that's it from the news team tonight. Tonight on Sport, Tom is talking with Joseph Romanos about cricket and the Halbergs. From the news team, though, it's good evening.